Guys, Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful week. God bless you all. Today's video, we want to talk about something very interesting that today dropped, and it's that Power Rangers are back. Apparently, they're coming back in a really big way in a movie that's being worked with Paramount. So, well-known scooper Daniel Richman, or well known as Daniel RPK, just dropped this major bomb that he claims, this is still a rumor, but he has a success rate of I would say 98%. He has never said anything out of the blue that isn't true. It's just either it just doesn't make it to the finish line, doesn't get made, or it just falls apart or whatnot, or ends up being released. That's basically what happens with Richmond. But I trust him a lot. I trust him a lot. He's a very well-known guy. So when he speaks, he's speaking the truth. So according to Daniel RPK, he's claiming that the new live-action movie is being developed and also a show by the side. So this is pretty cool. We all know that the show that was being worked and shows and potential movies on Netflix with Anna the Effin World director and writer, I think it was the showrunner of that show, Jonathan Atwill, which he is the new Karate Kid Legends Will, which, by the way, that trailer looks amazing. I never got to talk about it. I might talk about it later, but that trailer was fantastic. It was a really cool trailer. It showed everything that it needed to be shown. It was just great to me. It was fantastic. So my initial thoughts on this is that it just feels refreshing to see that they're trying some new ground. We all knew that they're probably going to do an animated show at some point. Probably is going to be pre-K aimed towards and Indo or something else. But this sounds pretty cool. This sounds promising. No details just have been released. Just the fact that they're working on something Power Rangers related for a movie. So, hey guys, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Power Rangers, if they stick fairly close to the source material, it's gonna work. I think Power Rangers is not it's more or less like Sonic. Then you can't go too serious with it, but you can't go too goofy with it. You have to have a certain feel. I think Power Rangers, it's soap opera, so soapy and soap opera in nature, and space opera has that space opera. You know what I mean? It has this, I'm making up words as I go. It has this weird amalgamation of a lot of things. But I think where they fail is that they try to make it into superheroes. And they're not your typical superhero. They have more in common with a normal cop. And I've talked about this in length. And I think if you're going to compare the Power Rangers to a superhero, I think Green Lantern comes to mind. If it's like a force, it's almost like they're intergalactic guardian cops, warrior cops. They're policemen from space. And if they treat it in a way that honors the source material, honors the Japanese source material, Super Sentai, if it honors what it came before while doing something different, I think we're gonna have something very, 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 very cool. If they do something similar to my favorite take on Power Rangers is the Mighty Morphin comics, all the way up to like Shattered Grid. I didn't read anything else. I know what came, Necessary Evil and whatnot, but and I'm vaguely aware of the story that came, and it's just, I like what they did. I like the story all the way up to Shattered Grid and the ending of Shattered Grid. That's my favorite, how they took care of those characters, how those characters behaved. That was that. It worked for what they were trying to do. So if they do that on live action, that would be great. I'll be happy with that. This is not like Transformers that we have like 8 movies now, 7 movies now that have come out, 8 movies with Transformers 1. That we know what we can do, what we cannot do. This is like, we only have 3 released in theaters movies, which is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 95, then Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, which is essentially the first episode of the show, of that season, say. And then we got the 2017 reboot, which is a total departure. It has more in common with like Kamen Rider, like Shin Kamen Rider type stuff, than Power Rangers or Super Sentai for that matter. It was very different. It was so different. It was so out there. But now looking back at it, it did some things, the cool things, but overall was just trying to ride the hype train of the Twilight movies, the Maze Runners, and those Hunger Game movies. Trying to, which I do enjoy the Maze Runner and the Hunger Games ones more than anything else, but they were trying to cater more to that audience, that YA audience, than anything else. It felt very I Am Number 4-ish, but it is what it is. I think Power Rangers is in a really interesting place right now that could work. That could, if they do it justice the right way, it could definitely work. I think if they look into the comics and bring something very, very cool, that'll be awesome. I think this is an idea that I'm going to throw. I think an original story would be beneficial. I think if we do a team of Power Rangers that departs from Mighty Morphin, completely original, and just focus on that more or less, that'll be awesome. We do like an original team of original kids trying to figure out, how to be these heroes and how to learn their powers, and almost like a coming of age story. It'll be awesome. I think, and get kids that look like they're 16 and 17 years old. Don't get me like grown-ups. That was one of my gripes with the 2017 movie, is that they got teenagers that didn't look like teenagers, and sometimes teenagers sound like they're still 12 or 13 years old, because a 15-year-old, 16-year-old is not that far off from a 13-year-old in terms of like maturity. Yes, it's 2 years and a half after 2 years after, but you're still sometimes you're still in high school, junior high, middle school. You're still in that age range. So having a kid essentially still trying to grapple with that, with growing up, and still, grappling the fact that he's not a kid anymore, being thrusted into a world of like intergalactic struggles and just in-universe wars and whatnot, because essentially they're fighting a war that nobody else can fight except them. And explore that a bit. Don't go too serious with it, just explore that bit of these young heroes and the fact that why they're chosen so young and why some of the other heroes aren't. Some of the other Rangers aren't chosen as young as they are. So that'll be interesting. But but don't go too over the top. We like it reminds me of the Adi Shankar short film that he did with Joseph Kahn, and that movie was great for what it was. It was so violent, but it was almost like a critique on these brands that they want to go on these super dark and edgy routes, and that was for a time that was what was happening back in like the 2014s and 2015s. They try to do these like super violent takes on superheroes and super dark after The Dark Knight came out. They were like, oh, we can do this with Spider-Man, and they did the Amazing Spider-Man 1, and then they course corrected in Spider-Man 2. Because it doesn't work with every superhero, you know. It works with Batman because Batman's fairly grounded. Yes, it has some loony heroes, villains, and some other like more out there heroes, but he's fairly grounded, so it works for him a lot. It's like the Captain America Winter Soldier, that those types of movies work in the Civil War because they added a layer of groundedness to like a man that wears essentially a giant flag on his chest. So if they can make Spider-Man, Batman, Captain America work, they could definitely make work the Power Rangers. You know, it's a matter of the story, the script, and what they're trying to convey. If the story's not great, the movie's not going to be great. My question is for you guys. What do you think? What are your hopes and dreams of this movie? Comment down below and let me know what you think about it. As always, guys, God bless you all. And remember, till all are one. Bye-bye, guys.